earn people's heart, and grooming your heart, making real friends, or getting what you want from whoever you want easily. There are basic and important skills for effective and good impact on people. Welcome back to my channel. I am Mona, and today I'm going to talk about how to become tactful, skilled, and witty talker, and how do you influence people, and how to earn friends. To master this skill, there are rules to follow. Rule number 1: no blame. It's absurd to blame anyone, as 90% of people have no intention of blaming themselves for anything, no matter what they have done wrong, as the blame motivates the other to justify his position, to preserve his ego. Always remember this quote: we would do like them if we were in their place. So, before you catch your neighbor's eye on the falling snow on the roof of his house, you have to clean the internals of your house from the garbage first. A person who begins a battle between himself and himself is a person who deserves to be praised. So instead of spending time trying to fix other people's flaws in behavior, you have to discipline yourself first. So you must know that when we deal with people, you deal with creatures that have a lot of feelings and ego, and that blame may injure their ego, which may have a harmful, even very harmful reaction. It's the fool who constantly characterizes others without paying attention, critic Jung himself first. So you have to seek excuses for others and put yourself in the place of one of them to see what was his misery to do if you were in his place. It's better than to blame, and to know the reasons why someone did what he did or said what he said. So avoid blaming. Rule number 2: the right way to force anyone to do something is to give this person what he wishes for or look forward to, so you can make him do what you want without having results for that way, bad consequences, where everything human do goes back to two main motivators: sexual instinct and looking forward to greatness. Access to appreciation is one of the profound principles of the human psyche, which characterizes the human being over the animal, where to satisfy the desire of the person to appreciate has been told by those who have told him his positives. But do I mean hypocrisy? No, I don't mean to profess nor fake cheap praise, but what is meant is to show sincere appreciation and avoid unnecessary blaming, and to encourage the other to exalt him. For a sincere and generous praise makes people turn around you, and others will remember your words even after you forget it. Put the right bait to hunt others. You should be aware of the right bait mood for the right person, and no doubt you care about your falling too, but you have to further realize that others may not have interest in what you love. So the perfect way to influence the other is to care about what he likes. Those who put themselves in the place of others and try and to understand what goes around in their own thoughts are human beings who shouldn't fear the future. Rule number 4: show attention to others. Where you can have a lot of friends if you give attention to them without any charge. So why do people care about you if you don't care about them? Why do you want them to show you affection while you don't exchange them with such affection? Why don't you try to push them to care about you while you don't, where it is difficult for people to love someone who doesn't exchange them for that love? The person, whatever his status and the social status, loves those who admire his works or his personality, as one only cares about who one cares about. If you want to have the love of people, you have to show interest in them. Rule number 5: a sincere smile, a main thing from the heart, unsung. When we deal with others, but one may be instructed to smile as a result of ups and downs, or his lack of desire to smile. So what you do if you find yourself in that situation? Then you have to try to act as if you are happy. It can actually make you happy. People think that actions stem from feeling, while otherwise actions and feelings go together in parallel lines. If you go out of the door of your house, raise your head and fill your lungs with pure air, and say hello to everyone who meets you. Shake hands with colleagues and friends warmly, and do not give a damn to those who will misunderstand you. Don't think about what opponents say, and do what you want without hesitation. Think about the meaningful things they have intended to achieve, and the opportunity will loom over time. So be generous and give your smile to others. It's many who they need that smile, and you also gain the love people if you do this. So if you want to win people's hearts, smile. Rule number 6. You have to remember people's names where it makes them feel important. And if you forget a person's name, you can say, sorry, I couldn't hear your name clearly, or ask him how to write that name. So if you want to gain the love of those you meet, remember the names to others mean a lot to them. Rule number 7. A person may be said to be a witty speaker, even though he didn't speak definitively. He was just a listener. The success of the meeting between two is not the difficult thing. Just listen to the speaker. Well, after his compliment, he is overwhelmed with pleasure, and he therefore responds to the listener. Just listen to the person, listen to his speech without interrupting him, and don't say a word. The ability to listen well is one of the rare abilities among people, and it's a characteristic of many great people, where some go to the doctor not because they are sick, but because they need someone to listen to them. If you want people to avoid you, run away from sitting with you, then take this recipe. Doesn't listen to anyone, and doesn't give him a chance to talk. Speak without interruption to yourself, and consider that the other is less intelligent than you, or that he must listen to you, not speak with his silly talk, to the point that it's not worth listening. You must be a patient listener before you are an accomplished speaker. Push him or her to express himself with all his freedom, and let him mention his memories and the good qualities. Encourage him or her to speak about himself, his work, his specialization, and his problems. And I know that many cares more about himself and his problems than about you, and that his sense of pain is one of his harms is more important to him than told him the news, like a famine has ended the lives of millions in China, or told him an earthquake behind their victim. So be a good listener and encourage others to talk about themselves. Rule number 8. Why should I make something mean what I'm doing? Why does one think only of oneself? And what is the exaggeration to give others something of happiness without waiting for any benefit to meet that treat others as much as you like to be treated? Compliments are therefore very important. If you see something beautiful, talk about it and compliment the person. Where if you want to be valued by people, light them on their importance. Rule number 9. The best way to gain dialogue is not to be involved in it, is to avoid approaching a predatory piece, especially if no one asks you about your opinion. Why do you seek controversy? It's hard to earn a corresponding result, no matter how witty you are. It's because you hurt the ego of the other. Make your first concern to learn how to shut up, not to learn how to speak. It's difficult to gain hearts through controversy, but it can be earned by literature, civility, and good conduct, where the best way to win the argument is not to argue. Rule number 10. Don't face others with their mistakes. Then what forces you to offend yourself and shape the hearts of others with hatred? This is unnecessary. And if you want to prove something, make it happen through an intelligent, tactful manner, since the other is willing to learn, but conditions that no one sits on the bubble seats. Always, since I don't have enough certainty that I'm always correct. If someone talks to you what you think is not right, let him say, for example, that I have another opinion. I'm not sure that this right. Maybe I was wrong. As long as I get into mistakes, let's check it out until I rearrange things in my mind. Your objection to what the others say is such a way makes him reconsider what he said, then he doesn't make a dumb wall because of his sense of humiliation or the wound dignity, as he suggests to him that you only seek have, and then he also concedes that he may have been wrong, and then the controversy stops and he seeks to rethink. A person may something seek to change his or her beliefs without finding any room complacency, but when someone tells him or her that he or she is wrong, he or she holds his or her opinion because in his or her view of encourages in his dignity, hurts his feelings, and is insulted by his or her mind. There was a person who was eccentric, who makes everyone who differs with him an enemy, and no one cares about what he says anymore, and his friends become rather away from him, and none of them were able to force him with his opinion, because they know very well that their honesty with him will bring them trouble. So he cannot learn nor know what he is ignorant of, although he is ignorant of a lot of things. So don't be such a weirdo and treat others smartly. Rule number 11. The fool who always insists on justify his mistakes defending himself, while the shortest way to win the hearts of others is to admit wrong, provided that one is already wrong, which costs nothing. If you want to win others to your side and convince them of your point of view, you have to follow that rule. If you are wrong, admit it. Rule number 12. There is an important rule that must be observed when you speak to one of the people, since you must not start talking about the points of disagreement between you, but first start with the topics that you both accept and try to focus on the points of agreement. And if you see the difference between you is not in the end, it's in the means. And one of the most important tips is wanting to think in the other's view and in looking from the angle from he looks. It will serve as the bedrock in changing the course of your life. Look at things as others see them. Rule number 13. Human beings seek the sympathy of others, for the child brings out the wound he has sustained, for the kindness of the parents, perhaps deliberately injuring himself to gain sympathy, and the adults deliberately tell the adversity they have received for the same purpose. Talk about the point the disease causes for them and explain to others how the surgery was so difficult. They may have exaggerated little or a lot in order to attract compassion. The need for a person to be sympathetic makes him complain about what he suffers and what he doesn't suffer, which is not without a person, is what I know. And if you wanted to win people, follow this rule: sympathize with others and show your sympathy with them. Bye bye.